The most important conversation I wish I'd had with my prescriber. Finding the confidence to become your own advocate. When I first walked into my doctor's surgery and I said I wanted to come off my antidepressants, I believed I was asking a simple question. I trusted that the person sitting opposite me would know exactly how to help. I trusted that if there were risks, they would tell me. I trusted if there was a safer way, they would guide me. Looking back now, that conversation became one of the most important moments of my entire journey, and one I wish had gone very differently. Not because I believe anyone intended to harm me, but because neither my family nor I had been given the information we needed to make a truly informed decision. If I could go back in time and sit beside the younger version of myself in that doctor's surgery, there are so many things I wish I could tell her. If only I'd known. When I was first prescribed antidepressants as a teenager, my family and I were told they were safe, not addictive, that I could stop them whenever I wanted, and that they were treating a chemical imbalance in my brain. We were also told I would need them for the rest of my life, much like a person with diabetes needs insulin. At the time, we believed every word. Why wouldn't we? We trusted the professionals caring for me. It wasn't until many years later, after countless failed tapering attempts and years of devastating withdrawal, that I began to discover that much of what I had been told did not reflect the current scientific understanding. If only I'd known then what I know now. If only I'd understood that stopping antidepressants isn't always straightforward. If only I'd known that withdrawal can sometimes be far more complex, longer lasting, and more debilitating than many people are prepared for. If only I'd known that informed consent means understanding both the potential benefits and the potential risks before making a decision about treatment. My choices may have been very different. My GP wasn't trying to harm me. This is something I feel is incredibly important to say. I don't believe my GP intended to harm me. Looking back now, I believe she genuinely wanted to help me and was working from the knowledge and guidance available to her at the time. Unfortunately, that guidance proved to be outdated and misinformed. When I first asked to come off my medication, I was given what I now understand to have been a rapid tapering schedule. I was reassured that withdrawal, if I experienced it at all, would be short-lived and settle within a matter of weeks. Sadly, that wasn't my experience. What followed was years of failed tapering attempts, repeated reinstatements, worsening withdrawal, kindling, confusion, and feeling trapped on medication I desperately wanted to stop. As my symptoms became more severe and continued for months, I was repeatedly told that they could still be withdrawal because withdrawal simply didn't last that long. There was no awareness of prolonged or protracted withdrawal. There was little understanding of the importance of gradual, personalised tapering. There was very little guidance on how to distinguish withdrawal from relapse. Looking back now, I can see this wasn't because my doctor chose to ignore my experience. It reflected the limited education many prescribers receive about antidepressant withdrawal, particularly at that time. Realising that brought me a mixture of sadness, anger, and confusion. The people who ultimately helped me understand what was happening weren't the professionals I first turned to. They were researchers dedicating their work to understanding antidepressant withdrawal, along with thousands of people with lived experience who generously shared what they had learned whilst walking this path before me. Becoming my own advocate changed everything. One of the hardest lessons I learned was that I couldn't simply hand over responsibility for my health and hope someone else knew all the answers. I had to learn, I had to question, I had to educate myself. Most importantly, I had to find the confidence to advocate for myself. That wasn't easy. I'd always believed doctors knew best. Speaking up felt uncomfortable. Questioning advice felt disrespectful. Yet over time, I realised something that changed everything. Advocating for yourself isn't about challenging your doctor. It's about becoming an informed partner in your own care. The most supportive healthcare relationships need to be built on collaboration, listening, respect, curiosity, working together. The 3 conversations I wish I'd had. If I could go back and walk into that surgery again, these are the conversations I wish I had felt confident enough to have. 1. Can we create a tapering schedule that is informed by current evidence, while allowing the flexibility to listen to my body and gently pace myself? At the time, I assumed that there was only one correct tapering schedule. I now understand that every nervous system is different. Some people taper more quickly, whilst others need much smaller reductions and more time to stabilize between changes. Having a plan that can adapt to your individual experience is often just as important as having a plan in the first place. 2. What can I realistically expect as I taper? How do I recognize and navigate withdrawal if it happens? And how can I take the best care of myself throughout the process? This conversation could have helped prepare me emotionally and practically. Withdrawal can look different for everyone. Knowing what symptoms might occur, understanding how withdrawal may differ from relapse, knowing when to seek medical advice, and having strategies in place to support yourself can make an overwhelming experience feel a little less frightening. 3. Can we schedule regular reviews throughout my taper so I have opportunities to check in and receive support? A taper isn't something that simply happens between one appointment and the next. It's a journey. Having planned opportunities to review progress, discuss concerns, and adjust the pace if needed can help people feel far less alone during what is often a very vulnerable time. You deserve to be part of the conversation. One of the biggest things withdrawal taught me is that your voice matters, your experience matters, your symptoms matter. You are the expert on your own experience and how your body is responding. A compassionate, collaborative prescriber will welcome your questions and work alongside you wherever possible. If you feel dismissed, unheard, or repeatedly told that your experience cannot be withdrawal despite what you're living through, it's okay to seek another opinion from a healthcare professional who is willing to listen and work with you. You deserve care built on respect, curiosity, and partnership. Looking back with hope. I can't change the conversations I had all those years ago. I can't undo the harm that followed. I can share what I learned in hope that someone else walks into their appointment feeling more informed, more prepared, and more confident than I did. Without a doubt, educating myself became one of the most important parts of my healing journey. It wasn't something I ever imagined I'd need to do. I simply trusted. Yet becoming my own advocate is what helped me find a safer path forward and ultimately survive. If my experience helps even one person ask a question they might otherwise have been too afraid to ask, then sharing my story will always be worth it. There is hope. There are healthcare professionals who will listen. There are researchers working to improve understanding. And there are growing numbers of researchers, healthcare professionals, and people with lived experience working together to improve understanding, reduce harm, and help more people navigate antidepressant tapering and withdrawal with greater confidence and support. If you're listening to this because you feel uncertain, frightened, or overwhelmed, I want you to know that you're not alone. Everything I share has been shaped by my own lived experience of surviving antidepressant withdrawal. I can't change what happened to me, but I can use those experiences to help others feel more informed, supported, and hopeful than I did. The resources I've created are the very resources I wish someone had placed into my hand when I began my own journey. Where to go to next? If this has resonated with you because you found yourself feeling unheard, dismissed, or struggling to explain your withdrawal experience, the next place I gently recommend is my Survivor's Guide to Antidepressant Withdrawal. One of the printable resources included is an advocacy letter for your prescriber, created for people who are already experiencing difficulties whilst tapering or after reducing their antidepressant. It's the letter I wish I'd had when I was repeatedly told that what I was experiencing couldn't still be withdrawal, when I wasn't being heard, and when I didn't know how to explain my experience in a way that felt calm, respectful, and supported by evidence. Rather than trying to remember or explain everything during a difficult appointment, the letter clearly sets out recognized withdrawal symptoms, current evidence, the importance of gradual tapering, and a respectful request for understanding and support. You simply add your own details before printing it and taking it to your prescriber. It isn't about criticizing your doctor or trying to prove them wrong. It's about creating the opportunity for a more informed conversation, one built on mutual respect, current evidence, lived experience, and the shared goal of reducing harm while helping you navigate tapering and withdrawal with greater understanding and support. If this blog has answered one of your questions, I hope that the guide will help you feel even more informed, more prepared, and more supported as you continue your journey through tapering, withdrawal, and healing.